The show opens in the scenic town of Edda, Norway, where a woman named Turid is driving her two teenage sons, Magne and Loritz, to their hometown. Suddenly, they spot an old guy whose scooter has just broken down. Magne jumps out to lend a hand, which makes Turid proud, even if Loritz is kind of annoyed about it. The old man, Wotan, chats with Magna about how weird Edda feels while the teenager fixes the scooter. Then Wotan's caretaker, Wensha, shows up and grins at Magna's kindness. Once Wotan's scooter is running again, he insists he's good to go. Wensha gives Magna a warm thank you and lightly touches his forehead. Magna doesn't know it, but Wensha senses something special in him and somehow stirs it up. For a split second, Magna's eyes flash a bright electric blue, and he hears mysterious whispers. As Magan gets into the car, he says it's going to rain, and right then, raindrops start pattering down around them. Next, the family arrives at their new house. While helping his mom carry their stuff inside, Magni finds a pamphlet in the trash that talks about making Edda a cleaner place. Once they're settled, Magni and his brother head to Edda Secondary School. In class, the teacher dives into stories about Norse gods, sharing the tale of Ragnarok, a huge end-of-the-world battle between gods and giants. Magni meets a classmate named Isolde, who is often bullied by Fjord and his sister Saxa. The siblings are popular at school for their fair look and high status, thanks to their father's booming company, Jutul Industries. Later, Isolde is frustrated to learn that someone has twisted her bike's tire. Fortunately, Mag can easily fix it by bending the tire back into shape with his bare hands. Isolde is impressed, and the two soon become fast friends. The following day, the duo teams up with another student, Gry, for a group project. One day, Magne and his mom, Turid, bump into Vidar, the CEO of Jutul Industries and father to Fjord and Saxa, while returning home from school. As childhood friends, Turid introduces her son to Vidar, and they exchange a handshake. Right away, both Magne and Vidar get an odd vibe from each other. It doesn't help that Vidar's spooky dog sitting in the car starts barking like crazy at Magne. Vidar calms the mother and son, saying his pet, Trim, needs time to warm up to new people. He tells Turid to call him if she needs help. Turid thanks him and says she's already applied for an accountant job. The scene shifts to Vidar's home, a massive 3-story house with Viking-style designs and a central tower. In the living room, Vidar meets his wife, Ran, the high school principal, and checks old news on his laptop about a sad event in the Turid family's past. Magni's dad, Asbjorn, died in an accident at 32, leaving his wife, Turid, and sons, Magna and Loritz. Later, in the bathroom, Vidar runs into Fjord and tells him to learn as much as he can about Magna. Meanwhile, Magna browses Isolde's YouTube channel, where most of her videos focus on environmental conservation. It is revealed that she has been vocal about opposing the environmental harm caused by Jutul Industries. This inspires him to write their group assignment about corrupt government. The next day, Isolde invites Magna to her house, and on their way, they stop at a grocery store. While shopping, Isolde, an eco-activist, buys mineral water and gives Magna a cloth bag, explaining that mineral water is healthier than tap water and that plastic bags harm the environment. At the checkout, the cashier, Wensha, warns them that the mountains will be unsafe during the spring equinox and Magni will be needed soon. Sensing Magna's awkwardness, Isolde smiles and says not to worry about the cashier's strange words, and they head out together. At dinner, Isolde invites Magna to explore the mountains on the weekend. During their talk, Magni learns Isolde became an eco-activist because her mom died from drinking tap water polluted by Jutul Industries. This made Isolde angry at people who harm the environment without caring about others. After dinner, Magna and Isolde connect over losing a parent. Isolde shares that her mom was 38 when she died, about 5 years before Magna's dad passed. Magna tries to keep things light and starts to leave. However, he knocks over Isolde's notebook by mistake, and it opens to a page that says she has a crush on Saxa. Panicked, Isolde begs Magna not to tell anyone what he saw. While on their way to the local glacier, Magna and Isolde find the bridge blocked with a new warning sign from Jutul Industries. They hop over it and decide to split up to explore the fjords. Meanwhile, Vidar arrives in the same mountain area, steps out of his car, and smells a nearby reindeer herd. He strips naked, quietly circles the herd, and stops at a cliff's edge. He closes his eyes to focus and chants an unclear Old Norse phrase in his mind. When he opens them, his eyes glow yellow with slit pupils. He then leaps at a reindeer, pins it down, snaps its neck, and rips out its heart with his bare hands. Satisfied, he takes a big bite of it and lets out a loud, eerie roar. Meanwhile, Isolde wanders underground and stumbles upon a hidden bunker marked with a Jutal Industries sign, which she realizes is Vidar's company. When she hears the echo of Vidar's frightening roar through the tunnel, she quickly decides to leave. Later, Magne spots Isolde paragliding down the mountain, but she suddenly loses control, crashes into a power line, and falls to the ground. He rushes to her burned, limp body and tries desperately to revive her, but it's no use. Vidar, now fully clothed, suddenly arrives and tries to help before calling paramedics. As ambulance sirens approach, a heartbroken Magni tearfully holds his dear friend's lifeless body. Back home, Magni throws off his glasses and, in a burst of anger, hurls his grandfather's sledgehammer. His grief turns to shock when he sees the sledgehammer fly far, followed by a sudden lightning surge that causes a town-wide blackout. In the following days, Magna struggles to move on after Isolde's death. At her memorial, Officer Ingvild shares the police report saying bad weather caused Isolde's paraglider to be struck by lightning, and she lost her phone during the accident. Doubting the report, Magna approaches Ingvild right after the wake, explaining that Isolde was an expert paraglider who knew the mountains well, and the weather wasn't that stormy. Ingvild listens, but gently says there's nothing he can do. Later, Magni watches Isolde's YouTube videos, where she tries to get a comment from an annoyed Vidar at his workplace. Meanwhile, his mom, Turid, learns that the sledgehammer Magni threw the night before smashed through Vidar's car windshield. She then confronts him about damaging Vidar's car with their missing sledgehammer. Though guilty, Magni can't believe the sledgehammer flew from their doorstep to Vidar's car, far away. After an argument, Turid grounds Magni and sends him to his room to think about it. Still confused, Magni checks the photos and uses Google Maps. This is when he finds the distance between his house and Vidar's mansion is about 1,537 meters. To test if he can throw things super far, he goes to the school's sports field, throws a sledgehammer high, and measures the distance it lands, which is surprisingly 541 meters, way beyond the world record of 86 meters. The scene shifts to Vidar and Ran discussing recent events in Edda. Ran is shocked when Vidar confesses to killing Isolde, as this breaks their rule against hurting children. Vidar explains he had to stop her from revealing their company's secret property hidden under the melting glacier. He made it look like an accident, just as the police reported. The next day, Magan visits Eric, Isolde's dad, to convince him that her death wasn't an accident. Eric, still grieving, tells him that there's nothing he can do about it. Hurt and frustrated, Magan storms out and, in a burst of emotion, lifts Eric's car with his bare hands. Eric is shocked to witness this, and he decides to invite Magne back inside. He then shares how Vidar's company is wrecking the environment with pollution. Meanwhile, the school's spring party is in full swing. After it ends, Fjord, Lauritz, and their classmate Oscar slip away and cruelly mock Isolde's memorial at the spot where she died. Fjord disrespects it by peeing on it, while Oscar films the incident. When Vidar hears about their actions, he promises to handle it. After Fjord returns home, Vidar speaks earnestly about their ancient traditions, explaining how humans once revered them. He emphasizes that they must still uphold certain standards, and in a fit of anger, he beats Fjord, throwing him around harshly. Upstairs, Gree, who is at a sleepover with Saxa, heads to the bathroom and is shaken by the violent scene she just witnessed. The next morning, students from Edda Secondary School, joined by their families, attend Isolde's funeral at the local church. Fjord and Saxa are present, although Fjord appears reluctant. Gree is surprised to see Fjord unharmed, despite the severe beating he endured last night. After the service, Magna and his family return home, only to discover their house is completely thrashed. Following the incident, Magna and Lauritz confront Nisa, their sketchy neighbor, about their house's break-in. When Magna holds him by the collar, Nisa mentions he saw a weird guy with a dog. Possibly Vidar trespassing the area. Back home, Turid scolds Magni and Loritz for scaring Nisa the other day, insisting they should have let the police handle the break-in investigation. Magni insists the case isn't closed because Nisa's story points to Vidar as the culprit. Turid and Loritz don't believe him, and Turid's strong defense of Vidar, the Judel Industries CEO, makes Loritz wonder if they have a past. One day, Eric stops by Magna's house and gives him Isolde's laptop, hoping its contents will help him find some peace after her death. Magna starts digging into Judel Industries' water pollution using the laptop, while Vidar, the factory's boss, begins to see Magna as a bigger problem than he thought. Meanwhile, Loritz goes on a hike in the mountains with Gry, Saxa, and Fjord. He jokes that they are on a double date, but Gry and Saxa laugh it off. Loritz suggests Fjord play his favorite heavy metal music, which he does, though Gry doesn't enjoy it since she doesn't understand Icelandic. Their fun is cut short when a small bird smacks into Fjord's windshield. When Fjord and Saxa hop out to check, they find it barely alive. Fjord, a bit annoyed, asks Saxa why they brought Loritz along, and she whispers, "It's to learn more about Magni through him." Saxa then quickly eats the bird to end its suffering, while Fjord just shrugs and turns away. While this is happening, Magn wonders if he has more superhuman powers. At school, he tests his speed, racing through the hallways in 6.98 seconds, 2.5 seconds faster than the world record. Unbeknownst to him, Vidar watches from a distance. Suddenly, a snowplow hits Magni on the road, and everyone thinks he's dead. Back home, Vidar and his family toast to Magni's death and discuss how Isolde's death was necessary. Surprisingly, Magni is unharmed, without a single broken bone. That evening, he gets home, records his thoughts on his dictaphone, and wonders if he's truly invincible. Vidar, stunned by Magni surviving the snowplow crash, talks with Ran about what Magni could be. They then invite him and his brother Loritz for dinner to dig deeper. Vidar gives Magni an old mead and a horn, and after drinking it all, Magni dances wildly and sticks an axe in the wall. He tells Ran he's super strong, so she arm wrestles him to test it. Magni uses all his power, but suddenly sees Ran as a withered, demonic creature, her true form. Distracted, he loses the match, excuses himself to the bathroom, and, looking in the mirror, sees himself as an older man, possibly Thor. Later, Magni jogs down the mountain, wondering about the mead from Vidar's family, while the latter discusses if Magna's from their old world. Our hero then checks his strength, surprisingly knocking down a tree with strong punches. While strolling through town, Magna swings by the grocery store and chats with Ventia, who's working the counter. She leans in close and hits him with a crazy revelation. Magni is Thor, the famous Norse god, and the family he's been clashing with. Vidar and his group are the Giants, the old troublemaking villains from Norse myths who want to wreck everything. Magnus' head spins as he tries to wrap his mind around it. Later, he gets back to Edda Secondary School, still shaken by what Wenches said. In class, the teacher jumps into a Norse mythology lesson about Ginnungagap, the huge, empty space where the world began. As the teacher talks about its place in the stories, Magne gets goosebumps. The lesson matches Vencha's warning perfectly, making his fight with the giants feel totally real, like it's his fate. In the meantime, Isolde's case is under investigation. When the blood tests arrive, they show two types of blood on Isolde's jacket, hers and an animal's. That night, Magna and Gry visit Isolde's dad, Eric's house, and pull out the jacket to show him. Eric, looking tired, brushes it off and tells them to drop the investigation. Later, Loritz heads to Fjords to get ready for a mountain hike, while Magna and Gry climb the fjords, where Magna finds a dead reindeer missing its heart. He joins the other teens on the mountain and, in front of them all, confesses his feelings for Gry. Feeling embarrassed, Gry kindly rejects him and says not to be so open about his feelings, as she's in love with Fjord. After getting rejected by his crush, Magni leaves the scene and heads over to Vidar's. He talks to the CEO about the dead reindeer, pointing out its heart was torn out. As Vidar starts speaking in Old Norse, talking about a big battle, Magni surprises him by replying in Norse too, then walks off after making a creepy threat. Vidar then sends his dog Trim on him, and when the dog bites Magni's arm, Magni grabs its jaw and tears it off with blood splashing all over him. In the meantime, Eric hikes up the mountain by himself and spots a pile of rocks set up to honor Isolde near the melting ice. There, he discovers one of Isolde's water samples that she collected from the underground and her phone hidden in their special place. While all this is happening, Fjord and Gry share a kiss as they grow closer and spend time together. Meanwhile, Vidar rushes after his dog Trim, only to find him dead and laid out on a rock. Magni, who is shaken by what he just did, heads to a nearby cabin looking for help, but freezes when he sees Gry and Fjord inside, sleeping together without clothes. Not wanting to interrupt, he quietly turns away and starts walking back. Gry, who is unable to sleep, wakes up in the middle of the night and starts flipping through an old family photo album in the cabin. She becomes shocked when she spots a strange picture of Fjord's family that looks like it's from ancient times, way older than any normal photo should be. Fjord wakes up just in time and gently stops her from digging deeper, but Gry is certainly rattled by what she just saw. Magna, meanwhile, makes his way home, his mind heavy with everything that's happened. As he walks, he pulls himself together, ready to finally sit down with his mom and talk about all the weird and scary things going on. Subscribe now and leave 100 comments or 1,000 likes so we can continue with the next part. Thanks.